Hi everyone, and welcome back to our channel. And this week we have got a bit of a different video for you because we are showing you a guide to buying perfume in London. So myself and Georgina have worked and lived in London, and we're in London a lot, and we know a lot of the great places to go to find perfume. So this is London. It's a big city, but we are going to focus our effort on one particular area, which is a kind of Mayfair, Knightsbridge, around Hyde Park area.
Yeah, so our first stop is Knightsbridge Tube. We find it really easy to get around London on the tube, so give it a go even if you're a tourist. As you come out of Knightsbridge Tube, there straight away you'll see Harrods, and Harrods is one of our real institutions, founded back in 1834 by Charles Henry Harrod, but now actually owned by the state of Qatar. Do you know, it's massive, this store. It's actually a 5-acre site with over 300 departments in it. So we suggest you head round to the front of the store, go in those front doors, walk through accessories, and then head to the Black Hall. The Black Hall is actually a listed department with beautiful Art Deco counters, and there's so much treasure to really discover in this hall. It might seem overwhelming at first, but what we suggest is that you relax, take your time, walk around. There's lots of different experts to talk to. The consultants are always ready and willing to help you, and it's a really good place to start your perfumery shopping trip because there are so many different departments to cover.
That's not all though in Harrods, because there's another perfume department up on the 6th floor. So this is called Salon De Parfum, and it was opened a couple of years ago. It's a little bit confusing because you can only get to it from the back of the store up one particular escalator. So you might need to ask someone or get a little map. You can get maps of the store. And Salon De Parfum is a collection of boutiques from many luxury brands. So you'll see here it's like a very long corridor, and then all the brands sit off it, and they all have their own individual staff. So this is a great place to come and have a look for things that are really special. So you can get one-off pieces here that aren't available anywhere else, and also they do a lot of personalisation. So whether that's personal consultations or actually engravings on bottles, maybe have a little look online beforehand and see if you can book in for an appointment. But to be honest, in our experience, it is quite quiet up there during the day. It tends to get a bit busier in the evening. So we're sure you'll love it up there.
Okay, heading back down, you can't miss the opportunity to travel on the Egyptian escalators. Did you know that actually Harrods was the first department store to debut a moving staircase back in the 1800s? Although, of course, these Egyptian escalators were built much more recently, but in a very ornate style. They're a real tourist attraction. Come out of Harrods and then head down Basil Street, and at the end of this street you will find Harvey Nichols, and that is actually our next stop, also in Knightsbridge and quite near the tube.
So that's the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, and then we pan round here to Harvey Nichols. So we're going to head on in, and Harvey Nichols, you'll find, is quite a different style to Harrods, even though they're really close to each other. Harrods is more of a traditional feel, whereas Harvey Nichols has more of a kind of young, hip, emerging brands feel. It's got quite a lifestyle vibe to it, and they often have things that are exclusive as well. Me and Georgina work with all the consultants in different stores that we're going to show you today, so please don't be afraid to go up to them and ask for recommendations, ask to try things on the skin or to have blotters labelled for you, because there is just so much to try. Harvey Nichols also has a great restaurant on the 5th floor.
Okay, back into the tube now, and we are heading in the Piccadilly line and over to Bond Street. But first, a couple of tube rules. You must stand on the right of the escalators, not the left, and when you're getting on the train, please remember to let those commuters off the train first. People get very irate if you don't do that. So if you're travelling on the tube and you've not done it before, just remember those two things. Also, a little tip, try not to travel in rush hour, because if you're in the middle of the day, you'll get a seat.
So now we're at Green Park. And we're by the park, but we're also by Fortnum and Mason, which is another British store. Their perfumery is upstairs, but they're also very well known for their beautiful confectionery downstairs. And Fortnum and Mason, when you come out, you'll be at Bond Street. And Old Bond Street is by the store, and then it turns into New Bond Street. So if you make your way about halfway up New Bond Street, you will come to Finnick. And Finnick is another group of British department stores, and Bond Street is their flagship store. They always have great floral displays out the front of the store, which they change every month or so. A very good Instagram opportunity. And then when you come in, you'll see they have a mixture of more mass brands that you can find everywhere, Cartier, Bulgari, but also niche things that are harder to come across in London.
Okay, so now walking up Bond Street, we are in the Oxford Street area, and Oxford Street is such a great place to go. If you maybe can't go anywhere else but just one street, that would be the one to pick, because this is full of shops. And we're going to head down to the Marble Arch end of this street, and we are going to find Selfridges there. So if you've seen the quite famous now TV show called Mr. Selfridge, you will probably be familiar with this Grade 2 listed building. It takes up an entire block at this end of Oxford Street, and what we recommend is that you just head on down to the front of the store, and it's quite identifiable because it's got this gorgeous ornate canopy and a famous clock. There's a sculpture in this clock. It's called the Queen of Time, and it's actually 11 foot tall, and it was unveiled in the 1930s. Also, just to note with Selfridges, if you're peckish at this point, it's got a great food hall, but also head on up to the rooftop terrace where you will find some rather delicious things to eat. So through those main doors, they're quite old and quite heavy, so you need a bit of strength to push them open, you will find the main perfumery hall. And Selfridges have now really turned into more of a niche store. It's a really great place to discover brands that maybe not many other people sell. And it's worth spending some time here looking around the different main islands just to talk to some of the consultants and have a chat about the different things that they sell, which you perhaps won't find in other places. Go through into the beauty hall and you'll find all those major brands, and this is where the main escalators are in the centre of the store, just for ease of getting around.
So when you come out of Selfridges, head on up Oxford Street, and the next store is Debenhams. Debenhams is a group of British department stores. They've actually expanded around the world now, but we have a lot in the UK. And Oxford Street is their flagship store, so it's a really great place to shop. Debenhams are well known for having a great selection of brands, and also doing really good deals as well. They do excellent like mega days where they have big discounts. But when you come into the Oxford Street store, you might find it harder to see the perfume hall because you actually need to go to the back. So make your way through past all these beauty brands, all these people, and then I want you to go upstairs. And then you'll see the main bank of escalators, and that's what service the whole store. And then if you head on around the escalators, that's where the main fragrance department is. And we particularly wanted to come to this store to show you something which is new here that they've rolled out in a handful of Debenhams, and that is called the Spritz Bar. So the Spritz Bar you can see here, it's like a generic fragrance area where Debenhams collate a selection of different fragrances, and they change it up every month. So there'll be things like new fragrances, floral fragrances, empowering fragrances, things for special occasions. And also what's great about this area is that it's always manned by a generic member of staff, so they have a good overview of all brands. And then when you come out of Debenhams, you don't have to walk far because you literally just turn behind you up Oxford Street, and there you'll see House of Fraser. House of Fraser is another British department store with a perfumery on the ground floor. And then next to House of Fraser, literally next door, is John Lewis, which is another British department store chain, and they also have a really great perfume and beauty department on the ground floor too.
Coming out of John Lewis, we then turn towards Oxford Circus and walk down Regent Street. And Regent Street is such a beautiful street in London. It feels very historical with gorgeous buildings. And one of these gorgeous buildings is the department store of Liberty. It has a mock Tudor front to it. It was built in the late 1800s. And it's a really stunning place to spend some time fragrance shopping and shopping for other things too. It was always known as the London Emporium, filled with luxuries and fabrics from distant lands. So what you would do is head to the florist, and it's very clear to see where that is, and in through the florist you will see the central atrium, which is actually built from a ship that was taken apart. If you go through, follow the signs into the Perfumery hall, and it's a real beautiful, oldie worldy, very traditional looking room with some very gorgeous brands in it.
So now we're heading on at the back of Oxford Street to Marylebone High Street, and this is a great place if you want to escape all the tourists and the hustle bustle of Oxford Street. It feels much more local here, and there is a great shop called Cologne and Cotton. There's a handful of these stores around the country, and surprisingly they sell colognes and cotton. So you can get beautiful bedding, you can get towels, but what they do that we're interested in is things like candles, reed diffusers, and they are also a stockist of the new packaging for Goutal, which is one of the brands we work with. So you can see it here displayed.
Next on our shopping trip stop is up through Fitzrovia to Tottenham Court Road area, and there is a store that you may not have heard of, which is a fairly recent addition to the perfumery shops in London, and that's called Fay Board. And Fay Board is actually run by Marie Claire, the magazine group. And it's very bright, it's airy, it's modern, it's very easy to shop in here, and it's got quite a relaxed vibe to it. And it's really popular with those people that work in the area.
If you head round from Fay Board, round the back of Tottenham Court Road, you'll come to one outlet of the Fragrance Shop. So Fragrance Shop have hundreds of stores around the country, and they're again another British brand. They are great for a big selection, but also for good deals as well. But what you'll find is that everything is behind a counter, so you will need to ask in order to try things. And then we've popped over the road to a store that's quite similar, which is the Perfume Shop, which also has this kind of counter set up. So don't be afraid if you're looking for something particular, just to speak to one of the assistants for help.
Okay, so then Sarah and I find ourselves in rush hour trying to battle our way home. We're shopped out, there's lots of places that we've been today. In fact, we've walked about 10k, we think, in total, and so we're heading off to Oxford Street Tube to begin our journey home. So I really hope that you have enjoyed shopping around London with us today.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all again next time. Bye.
Bye.